Welcome to Unapologetically You, an authentic journey to healing.
The podcast where we dive deep into the raw, real, and transformative process of embracing your true self.
I'm Jenny.
And I'm Ashley. Join us as we share stories, insights, and practical wisdom to help you heal, grow, and live unapologetically.
Whether you're on your own healing journey or simply seeking inspiration, this space is all about embracing authenticity without fear or shame.
It's time to make a move from your relationship
to a relation shift.
All right, welcome back. We are here with Unapologetically You podcast. We say it's the most imperfect podcast you will ever listen to. That's something that we don't script. Like we literally come in with a topic and we go.
Again, authentically. We're going with what we know and experience.
So you're welcome. This week we are talking about intuition. And that's one of my favorite topics. But it's also, I think, one of the most difficult things that people try to, as you're saying, like tap into. So not only are we going to talk about intuition and how it works on your healing journey and in life, but also then some tools on how to be able to tell the difference.
And how to really tap into your intuition, your inner guidance.
Yeah. All right. So let's start with, what is your definition of intuition?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking you. Remember, this isn't scripted.
So when I think of intuition, I think of our higher power within guiding us to what our next step is. I think intuition is a subtle nudge. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's always loud. I think when we ignore it, it can become louder. Or we could start seeing external circumstances in our life that are going to make us see that something isn't good for us or that something is good for us. I think when we're ignoring it, we're going to see more of external evidence.
Yes.
However, I do think it is truly like a subtle nudge, but it's there.
It's a feeling.
It's like that little knock at the door. It's there, and sometimes it's quiet, and sometimes it can become louder.
Yep.
I do think it comes from our higher power, though.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
I think of our what they call in yoga our samkalpa, our destiny. So I think our intuition is tied into our destiny, our path.
Yeah, I almost feel like it's something that it is we know what our heart's desires. We know our purpose is already designed for us. So our intuition, like you said, is from that higher power to guide us on that path so that we can fulfill that purpose. And I think when we are on it and we're doing great, your intuition, it's a feeling of energy and good. And when you are doing something or acting in a way that is going to steer you from that, I think that's where it's that feeling of something's not right. I think where it gets confusing is it a feeling? Is it a thought? Is it like, I think people don't understand and they're like, no, it's fear, right? Because running 25 miles doesn't feel good.
Right.
I'm not talking about like this physical feeling in your body. I'm talking about like a feeling like within that you have, and it's not fear related. It just feels either like it feels good and energetic or it feels off.
And intuition can be hard to read because sometimes I think we could be fearful, but that's really not our intuition. That's just our stuff, our junk. I do believe when it's truly your intuition, though, it's almost like that knowing, that all knowing.
Yeah.
It's you don't have to really second guess it. We sometimes don't listen to it, but I think it's just that inner knowing.
Yeah, I'm glad that you said that because it kind of goes into the next thing. So
where fear's in your head.
Fear's
all the thoughts. I don't think intuition's the thoughts.
I don't think
intuition's that inner knowing.
Feeling.
And what I want to do towards the end of the show is I want to tap you into your intuition so you know where it lives in your body, because intuition's different for everybody. Where it lives in the body.
Yeah.
For me, it's my gut.
That. Oh yeah. For me, it's like it's like from my chest to my, it's like this feeling that it's all wrapped up in there.
that
Which where
excitement or
is
that
our
tightness?
chakras that are in there? I think that
So the
speaks
heart.
to
So
the heart.
we got the heart space. We have the
Sacral?
solar plexus.
Okay, that's in the middle.
That is in your core.
That's it.
And
That's
then
for
we
me.
have the sacral, which is your pelvic area.
Not in there.
And then we have the root, which is.
Don't listen to that feeling. That's
for another day, another story. It is. That's where. So listen, if your sacral chakra is blocked, you don't allow yourself to feel joy.
Really?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yes. If you read about it, if it's blocked, that like you won't allow like joy and pleasure in your life. You'll actually block yourself from feeling true joy.
Okay. So yeah. So for
Actually, sacral chakra is not blocked. I promise.
oh, it's not scripted, people.
We'll have to work
I'm
on the
so-
solar plexus.
I'm so joyous all the time. No problems there.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Okay, so what were we talking about?
My intuition lives in my heart and solar plexus. That's where I feel it.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm excited to get into that part to understand more about that. One of the things that I have a hard time differentiating between. God, it's a hard word.
I know. It's like a mouthful.
Yes. It's bad timing.
What is wrong with this? All that cosmic energy floating around.
Woo! Okay, we're gonna rein it in.
Oh my gosh.
So I have a hard time where my thoughts are telling me one thing. My thoughts are typically what I want to do, right? I'm thinking this is what I want to do, and my intuition is usually telling me what I should be doing. And we were talking about before. It is the knowing. Your intuition is the knowing. So it's always, I feel like it's always that thing where like I know what I should be doing. What I want to be doing though is a completely different thing, and I think that's where we kick ourselves later. We're like, oh, if I just would have listened to my intuition,
right.
If I just would have listened to myself. But why do you think we have such a hard time of not trusting that, knowing it's there? That's the purpose of it being there, and saying, maybe it's wrong. Maybe I can change it, and I'm still going to go over here and do what I want to do.
Staying within ourselves. And that's a skill. I think that's a skill and a practice that has to be developed. I don't think it's something that just comes naturally to us. And I also think desire. You said it best.
Yes.
I think desire sometimes it's like I want what I want.
Desire is
It's like
not
that
intuition.
child within you, though, right?
Yeah.
But it is. It's like, you know how kids, they want what they want, and as a parent, you're like, no, that's not good for you. No, you can't do that.
Yes.
Well, I think, again, we all have that inner child within us, and I think when we have such a strong desire, we want what we want, and we're not really listening to our moral compass, which is our intuition of maybe that's just not good for us.
Yeah. And then we do it anyways.
I think, right. And then we learn, and then when we do it, we're like, I knew. I should have listened.
Yeah. Yep. I have had that moment so many times.
Same. Yeah.
And it's like, when am I going to get it right? It's taken a long time. Now I feel like I'm listening a lot more. I'm aware of it. Where I think in the past it was like, okay, I heard it, I felt it, but I still am going to challenge it and do what I want to do over here. And I don't know if it's experience or it's age or whatever it is, but now it's more like I really want to pay attention to that, and I really want to be able to understand and then trust in it, that even if it's not what I want to do, I'm not willing to go down the lane of making the mistake again.
Well, because that intuition is what's going to really take you to the next level in your life. That is really what is going to lead you on the path you're meant to be on. I truly feel like that.
Yeah.
I feel like intuition, it's there. It's always talking to us, but I think you have to really steady and silence yourself to really hear it.
Yeah. And I'm wondering if, because I feel I will play devil's advocate with myself and question myself and say, well, if I hadn't if I had listened to my intuition, I wouldn't have learned the lesson that I learned from the mistake. And the mistakes are needed too. But then I say, well, was that mistake needed from the beginning? Or because, like you said, your intuition is aligning you with your path. Right. So going against it, you're delaying what is over here on the path that is meant for you. And so in order to get you back on it because of the choice that you made, yes, then that lesson comes into play. But it wasn't initially part of the plan.
And it could, and I think sometimes it could be, right? I think that's, right. Again, we don't know. However, though, it's continue making those same mistakes and those same patterns, then you really aren't listening to your intuition.
Yeah.
I feel like if something is brought into your life, it feels right, but it ends up to be something where you do get hurt. Because part of our journey with life, we are going to get hurt. There's no doubt about it. Right. So let's say it's a new experience. You end up hurt, or a job you take and you end up realizing, wow, this isn't for me, but it felt right at the time. I do believe you were led there for a reason. However, if it's something that's over and over and over again, I think then it is almost, are you really listening to your intuition? Are you really trusting yourself? Then I think it is a you thing that you have to look at. What are the patterns you keep repeating in your life that are keeping you from really going down your true path?
Oh, yeah.
Because sometimes we'll have to have a whole show on this, but we do self-sabotage at times.
Absolutely.
We keep ourselves from the beauty of life a lot of times, too.
Because I think, pain and trauma and not healing. We subconsciously develop a protection or defensive armor to not trust, not even in ourselves, not trust others, but definitely not in ourselves, to have the wherewithal to make a decision.
There's a quote out there, and I can't remember who it's by. It might be Marianne Williamson, but it says, people aren't afraid of failure. They're afraid of success beyond measure. Because sometimes
it's unfamiliar?
I think that can make people uncomfortable leveling up in their life. Because again, it's the unknown. You have more to lose. Oh no, now you have greater things to lose.
Yes.
Bigger things to lose.
Yeah.
People are afraid of loss.
Well, because inevitably as you grow and as you change, people get left behind. And
and that is a hard thing about life. It truly is.
Yeah, because you have to. But they're not going where you're going, and so when you recognize that, that's a difficult decision to make. Like, my season with you is over because I'm up leveling.
And it's hard. That is hard. It's sad.
Yeah.
I think for whoever's making the decision, whether you're the one leaving or being left, I think it's still hard. It's still a letting go.
Yeah. Well, you want to know who the hardest person is to let go? Yourself. Your old self. Because you can't take that person with you either.
Oh, no. Right. You got to shed the layers.
We're very comfortable with that person and where that person's at and the decisions that person's making. To let that person go, I think, is the hardest, because who you're walking into is unfamiliar to you.
Right. You're creating a new identity. You truly are, and you're forced. You have no choice but to create.
Yeah, and I don't know what that looks like. You know,
you don't, right? Or what's going to happen now? What's next?
Yeah. So I think that's even I guess that epiphany just came to me.
But I love it. But it's true.
I'm like, the hardest, the person that we're holding on to and not letting go the most is the old version of ourselves.
Absolutely. And sometimes I think it takes a while for the new version to emerge. And sometimes in that process is where you keep repeating the same pattern, because you're not letting yourself step into the new version that's ready to emerge. You're like, I'm just going to stay here for a while. Yeah. Like, again, it's that keeping yourself small.
Yeah. Well, I think
and once someone's been hurt, they have a hard time getting back out there.
Well, and then when we were talking about, maybe it was the show before, or maybe it was our first show, the big hurt, the one that, because we all have had our little hurts, but when it's that traumatic hurt, it changes you. Without your decision. It changes you without you even knowing it or wanting it to happen. Right. And so
now those are the times where it was that meant to happen, because especially if that just throws you out of the girl you once knew. So was that meant to happen to really kind of make you finally see, okay, like I can't no, I can't be this version of myself anymore.
Well, yeah, and we've talked about this. I had intuition about the relationship that I was getting into and that I shouldn't have been doing it. However, in that case, that lesson and that pain and that trauma had to occur, because if not, no one else and no other situation was going to knock me into this new version of who I am.
So with the person you're speaking of, take me back. So when you had met him, what was your feeling on him? Did you get a intuition like, oh, this, like, beware? Or
So
did you have that expansive, like, wow, like, I feel like he's meant to be in my life?
There was a desire and an attraction.
Okay.
But there was a very knowing feeling of something was off. That there was not a good...
Off about him or just the connection?
About the connection. So it was strong. It was very strong. Again, at that time, I couldn't understand if it was the attraction or the desire, but it was that person was going to be a change in my life.
So you almost knew that.
I almost knew it, but I knew it wasn't going to be good. Right?
Okay.
I knew there was pain attached to this. And inside, I knew.
Okay.
And it wasn't a quiet knock. It was very loud.
So with this excitement, because I'm going to assume when you're attracted to somebody, you're feeling a lot of excitement. So with this excitement, it also came like, oh, I know this is going to have a painful ending.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was a doom.
But I'm doing
feeling. But there was almost like, but I'm doing it. And I look back and I'm like, was that just me being like choosing desire or was it like, again, I look back now, I couldn't in the moment, but I can look back now. And again, I don't think any other person or any other situation could have occurred together to knock me back onto the path that I needed to be on. I think that had to happen because I was going to continue to make choices that were not. God was creating patterns, or not creating, but allowing me to create these patterns that I wasn't getting out of. So somebody major had to step into my life to get me to stop doing that. Like somebody had to be significant in my life enough to make me not continue to do that. And that's who that person was. And I knew it was something that was going to end in pain. I didn't know it was going to be that painful.
Or what it looked like.
Or what it looked like, or how, but it was, I can look back on it now, like that was absolutely necessary. And I look back on past relationships and I honestly, no one else could have taught me that lesson.
Wow.
No one else. So
he was a significant person in your life to come in and really change everything.
Changed my story completely. Yeah.
How are you different? So that girl back then that was with him to now, how do you feel that you're different? Like, how has that really changed you?
For one, I'm very unapologetic about who I am. The person prior to that was very, your happiness comes first, your needs comes first, and my self-worth is based on everything that you're feeling and everything that you want. And I was willing to change and sacrifice for that person or anyone else actually in my life. And it was, my standards were low and my boundaries did not exist. And it was more just, I was going through life looking for people to come into my life to tell me who I was. And because I didn't know, I had no idea who I was, what my purpose was, what I wanted to be. I was just okay with floating around being like, well, you tell me what I like. You tell me who I am.
Right.
And so this person came in and did that hard. Like, I'm going to tell you who you are. And I'm going to tell you what I think of you, but not in a good way. So much so that it was like the person that it created was like it completely took any identity I have. And it completely left me just like a shell. And so I'm not that person anymore. I will never be that person again. And I will never allow somebody else to determine my worth or who I am. And I won't change my boundaries or my standards.
I love it. So really it gave you a strong sense of self.
Yeah, it helped me to find who I was.
To find
like,
who
oh,
you were,
there
gave you a
are.
strong sense of self, knowing, like you said, knowing now your boundaries.
Yeah. Like I felt like my true self was on this path over here. And whoever I didn't know who I was. I was on, people that can't see video doesn't know. My true self was on one path, I was on another path, and we could not come together. And when I say that trauma,
so you felt
that
disconnected from who you really are.
I felt like my real person was out there, like what? And the whole time, here's the kicker: that's who I was searching for. That's who I needed to connect with and love.
That's
not
your path.
men. Yeah.
Right.
This person was responsible for almost like a jolt, right? Knocking me off of this over here onto over there, so I could connect back with myself.
Right.
Like,
I love that story.
Yeah.
To be able to really tap into your intuition, you do need a strong sense of self. Because if you don't have a strong sense of self, you're going to always question yourself. You're going to always question that inner voice.
Yeah.
You're going to talk yourself out of what you're really feeling. Again, it goes back to, I think that's also part of like self-abandonment.
Yeah, when we're younger. It's somewhere when we're younger that we do that.
Well, I think it's the inner, going back to what I was saying, it's the inner child. I feel like, think about your kids. They want what they want. And you're sitting there saying, no, this is not good for you. Yeah. You need to put your phone down, or you need to, right?
Yeah.
So I think we all have that child within us. Yep. So when we want something, when the desire's strong, even if that voice is saying something else, it's that inner child kicking and screaming, saying, nope, I'm doing this anyway.
Yeah.
So we start ignoring that inner voice. But I think when you have a strong sense of self and strong love for yourself, not that we're always going to listen to that voice. I think there are going to be those moments we're not. We're human.
It's inevitable.
But I think at the end of the day, you're going to go back to saying, wait a minute, let me just really like quiet myself. What is it I need? What is going to be good for me? I think you're going to bring it back to yourself when you're in that place of that strong sense of self.
Yeah.
And you're almost going to quiet the inner child, and you're going to think with your logical mind,
yes.
And say, no, this isn't good for me. Wait, this isn't feeling right. This is feeling off.
Back to faith too. And, and inherently, like there was, when God created Adam and Eve, right? Like, he was the voice that they were to listen to. He was, as to speak their intuition, right? And you had to have that trust within God. And then at some point, choice came along. And we had the choice to go in a different direction and not listen to the higher power or higher source. And I think that's where, like you said, we're human. So we're flawed now. Now we are flawed because of choice. And we don't rely on or listen anymore to that and have that trust to that intuition or our inner self. They choose against sometimes listening to.
Right, but I think again, when you start getting on a path of, that strong sense of self, I think that's going to happen less. You're going to start listening more to
like now,
your inner voice. And so many times there's so much noise in our life, so much external. So many people are telling us what to do, what to think.
Who we are.
I mean, even from the time you were a little girl, people told you who you are, what to do, what to think.
Don't do that. Don't like that.
Right, right. So I think it's shedding the layers, and I feel like really steadying. In order to tap in your intuition, there has to be some steadiness.
Yeah.
So whether it's silence, whether it's meditation, whether it's prayer, there has to be a sense of steadiness for you to really be able to tap into your intuition. Now, I think once you get good at it,
it's a practice.
Then it's going to be easier to do. But I think to start with it, there has to be some steadiness. I mean, every day, I meditate every morning, but every day I do take, even if it's a few minutes of silence, and I just try to listen.
I do that at night.
Like really
best time for me is at night.
And listen, like what's going on right now? What do I need? What are some things in my life that, how can I up level? How can I change? If your goal is to be better than you were yesterday, I think you'll make better choices.
Oh, yeah.
If that's your goal. If you focus on, I want to be better than I was yesterday, I think even that alone is going to help you choose better.
Yeah. Today is a new opportunity to attempt life with a better mindset.
Yes.
And with more self-trust and to be able to make decisions that maybe you got it wrong today. I typically get it wrong in a day.
Absolutely. And when things are feeling really off and feeling, that's time to just quiet yourself and analyze, like, what happened today?
Yeah. Yeah. I do believe that God will allow situations to happen, exact situations to happen as a test to see, have you learned?
Yeah.
Are you wanting to do better? Are you willing to make a different choice? Are you willing to give up what you want in order to stay on the path for your purpose? Can you trust in me, or are you going to make the same mistake? And this has been happening to me a lot because I feel like I've gone through that pain part, that healing from that, and I keep like making up leveling steps. So now I think God is saying, good, I think you get it, I think you're aware, and now I'm going to test you, and I'm going to allow these situations that I was protecting you from so that you could heal, but now to come back into your life to see, did you build that muscle? Are you strong enough to trust in me over here? Because I know you want this over here. I know you want this. Are you going to give that up to stay over here? I think that's where you
have you noticed that? So we'll talk about relationships. So men, kind of different face but same kind of personalities, or same kind of nonsense. I mean, we'll call it just nonsense.
Yeah, and again, it's a quiet whatever first, but it's like, this is a little similar. Then all of a sudden it's like, okay, I'm going to exactly replicate what faced you before. I'm going to stick it in front of you, and I know you still want it. So now what are you going to do?
Because maybe that's like, the type that you're attracted to, but that doesn't mean it's good for you.
Yeah.
Because have you ever followed Carl Jung?
No.
Okay. So he's like this
brilliant.
I think he's gone now, but he's this like brilliant man.
Okay.
That psychologist. Well, he talks about, so you meet somebody.
Yeah.
You're attracted to them.
Yep.
But a lot of times that attraction and what you feel connection, it's because it's familiar to you.
Yes.
So familiar meaning going way back.
Yes, the past.
Who do they remind you of? Your mom, your dad, your guardian, whoever really took care of you. So he claims that sometimes when we feel that connection, sometimes, yes, it is the higher power saying, this is your destiny, this is your person. Mm-hmm. Or sometimes it is just that shadow self of you that needs healed. Mm-hmm. That it's familiar, that connection, because it's something that is almost like looking like something in your past.
Yeah.
That's where intuition comes in.
Yeah.
That is where, what is that's why I compared the two.
I like it, yes.
Because, is it destiny? Is this my person? Or is this my shadow self that needs healed? So that's where you have to hone in and listen. Now, you could say to yourself, I'm very attracted to this person. I feel this connection, but my intuition is screaming no. So what inside myself do I need to heal? Because this person's not good for me.
Yep.
And that is when the work comes in. That's when the layers come in of change. However, when it's fate, you'll feel like it's that all-knowing. Like,
I heard there's no
I need
question.
to go forward with this person.
Right, there's an absolute...
Doesn't mean you're going to be forever. And I want to say, doesn't mean it's going to be a forever thing.
It's just
but it definitely means like, okay, there is some culpa. There is some kind of destiny plan here that needs fulfilled.
Yes. Oh, I love that. So so it's a...
Follow Carl Jung.
I'm going to now.
He's amazing. He's
for
deep.
Sure.
So you have to almost take him in small bits.
Yeah. Okay.
But he is interesting, and his work makes sense.
And that goes along with a lot of things that I've read or seen, that when it is destiny, when it is, there is no confusion around it. It is very clear. There's a lot of clarity about who or what.
Doesn't mean there won't be challenges, though.
Oh,
I mean, you're going
yes.
to have challenges because the cool thing is usually you're going to challenge each other to be better people. So a lot of times when it's your person too, you are both kind of challenging one another because to be better people. You're together. You're together for a big purpose, a big reason.
So do you think then that's where self-sabotage can come into play? Because the moment then you see the challenge, you're like, oh wait, I thought it was clear, but it's not.
Possibly.
This is not supposed to have any confusion around it. And so I was wrong, and I'm backing out.
Possibly. Or could it feel too, I don't want to use the word boring, but could it feel too easy and you're used to
difficult
trauma,
Yes.
So you're like, okay, nah, I'm not feeling this spark.
Yeah.
But that's
There's
where,
almost
again, you
adrenaline
have to
from drama.
That's where you have to tap into your intuition. So there was somebody I had dated not long ago. And everybody around me like really liked him. They thought he was like, you know, a really great person. And I believe he is.
Yep.
So I had to ask myself, am I just used to, you know, intense passion with people I've been with? So this is just maybe too flat, you know, vanilla. Anyway, so I had to kind of like quiet myself and ask myself all the things, all the questions. At the end of the day, though, no, it came back to he wasn't the right person for me. Doesn't mean, that's another thing. It's like, you have to know when to walk away and let something go, even if people are telling you, oh, you know, that this person seems great, or even if there's nothing wrong with the person. If your intuition is telling you no, it's just no. I mean, I think so many times we justify trying to stay with people that just aren't the right fit.
We want to know why there's a no. We could give me some solid things of why it's a no.
So whether it's, you know, a wild ride with somebody or a flat ride with somebody, it's so hard for us as humans to let go. We keep questioning ourselves. But I think, again, that's when you got to steady the mind, and you have to like clear the clutter of what other people are saying and tap into what you're really feeling.
Well, because it is the fear of the consequence of letting go. So look at it this way. You can't mess up what's meant for you.
Right.
Maybe for a period.
Right.
But eventually it comes back to you. So what if you do let that go? If it is meant for you, God, source, universe, whatever, is gonna bring it back around to you. And this could be a man or
Right.
woman,
whatever.
This friend has more than one person that they are talking to.
Okay. Are they on a dating site?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so they're on a dating site.
Yeah.
So they have more than one person they're talking to, which is typical if you're on a dating site.
Yes.
Okay.
So they have met people that really intrigue them.
Okay.
And then not so much. Right. But they're holding these multiple conversations, and there is someone that absolutely really, really intrigues them that they really like.
Okay. So they met somebody that's extremely intriguing to them. Okay.
Yes. However, there is something there that they don't want to cut off any of these other conversations.
But are these other conversations intriguing them?
No. So that's why I'm like, so then what are you... Like, and again, there's something they're not admitting to themselves of why they're holding on to that.
Are they fearful of being alone? I mean, there could be multiple.
Well, yeah, I'm trying
there could
to
be multiple reasons. I mean, who knows what's up
that's
with their
the thing,
psyche?
But like that's what I was trying to get
kinda...
them to say to themselves, because I'm like, well, that's interesting, because again, if you're feeling something over here, why wouldn't you invest in that and just take the chance on it? Or is it their intuition being like, I know I'm feeling this over here, but there's still a connection over here? Or is it fear? So I was trying to get this person to kind of look at why they felt the need to still hold on to something. And their response was, well, what if I make the wrong decision and now I've missed out
within themselves,
and now I've missed out on this over here
themselves. Now, granted, so when you're on a dating site, you are going to be talking to multiple people. I mean, I feel like if I'm on a dating site, I would talk to multiple people until there is somebody that we both decide that, like, all right, let's give this a fair chance, right? If I'm meeting people in the process, if I'm not getting like a hell yes, and it's just like, oh, this person's okay, maybe I'll go on a second date just to be sure. But after that, if I'm still not getting that, like, this person's a hell yes, I'd be like, I would let it go, because like, just for my own self, I'm not going to waste my own time.
Right.
I don't know. That's how I am. Like, time's limited, and
time is limited.
Time is limited, and I'm not wasting my time on someone that's okay.
Well,
I mean, I wouldn't want someone to do that if they felt I was okay. I mean,
like, just okay, like, yes. And so I feel like it went back to what you were talking about today, is that, like, it's hard to let people go.
It is,
because
especially
regret.
if they're nice, if they're, and I say if they're nice, if they're good people, if there's nothing wrong with them, just like I was saying about the guy I was dating, if there's nothing wrong with them, but yet inside you're just feeling it's not coming together, that is a hard thing to let go because you're not really finding any big flaws. It's just that your intuition saying, hey, that person's not for you. But that's when you need to like tap in. I get so like aware of time, right? And so I don't want to waste time on somebody if I'm not feeling that pull or that draw.
Yeah.
And why? And that's not good for them. Like I wouldn't do, also out of compassion for other people, if I'm not into you, I don't want to waste your time. Does that make either?
I don't want to lead you on
right. That's not right either.
Right. And not that it's not the right person, but it's not the right time.
Right. Or they're just not a part of your path, or they were just meant to be on your path for a short time. Maybe you were meant to teach them something.
Oh, I like that
they're not
too.
always here to teach you. Maybe you're meant to teach them. I mean, we don't know. There could be so many multiple reasons, but I think that's why it goes back to just trusting within yourself and tapping back in. We're going to do tapping in. Where does the intuition live?
Yes. Not that our show is always around relationships and things, but those are, let's be real, it's like the biggest things that happen in our...
But even careers.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes my intuition had led me to this path, to where I am now, sitting here with you. I feel like, creating Mind Body Shift, I followed my intuition. I could have talked myself out of all of these things and thought of a million reasons why not to do it, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, quieting my mind, thinking, okay, is this a good step for me? And it was yes all day long.
Yes.
So we're always using our intuition. And once you learn to tap into it, it's always on.
Oh, always on. Always on. And here's where the unapologetic part comes in. Not everyone is going to agree with your intuition. And a lot of times they're going to try and talk you out of it. And a lot of times they're going to say things to make you question it, right? Because most of the time you're probably going to make a decision that they don't like or that impacts them in a way that they don't want you to. So if you're listening and you're deciding and you're in a relationship, or it's with a friendship, or it's somebody with family, like if you're at a point of indecision of where you go with it, or maybe you made a decision and they've talked you back to coming into it, and it's not something that you still feel, you're still feeling that it's not good. You have to be unapologetic about the choice that you are making for yourself. And if you are feeling that it's not right for you, and it's a constant feeling that is consistently showing up, that is not a bellyache that's going to go away. That's not a headache that is going to go away with Tylenol. It is going, like you said, it is going to knock louder and louder and louder and louder.
You're going to start seeing external evidence of what your intuition is trying to tell you.
Yes. So listen to it and don't be afraid of it.
Sooner rather than later.
Sooner rather than later. What is that thing? Like the longer you stay on the train, the more expensive it gets, right?
Ooh,
like,
I love that.
Get off the train. I don't know where you're going to stop. I don't know where it's, get off of it. It's going to be very unfamiliar where you tell it to stop, but don't apologize for what you are doing is best for you or people that you love. I will tell you, they will heal. They will be okay, and so will you.
If somebody tells you you're selfish,
embrace
they
that.
are the most selfish person, because someone that tells you you're selfish, if you really like flip it around and look at it, the person that's telling you, it's because you're no longer doing something for them. You are tapped into your intuition, your inner wisdom, your higher power. People around you are going to end up being affected in good ways. It might not seem so at first, but as you live on your path authentically, you are going to inspire others to live on their path authentically. Okay, so we have steadying the mind for intuition.
Wait, because you said this earlier. let's like what is it when you have to give somebody not a guarantee, but what is the word for it? We were just talking about, this doesn't mean be an asshole, right? Like
wait, when I was saying about there's unapologetic and then there's like really unapologetic.
As long as you're doing what is in your purpose and what is good, this doesn't mean that you're like, I listened to the podcast today, and they're posting unapologetic everywhere. That is not a free for all to go be an asshole.
Right. Our unapologetic is living authentically.
Yes.
Intuition.
Yeah.
This is another thing with intuition. Your intuition is never going to lead you to do bad things. Your intuition is your light, your higher power, your light. So your intuition is not going to tell you to go sleep with someone's husband or someone's wife. I'm just going to say that because, again,
someone's relative.
When you are truly tapping into your intuition, you're living in your light. That's your light.
Yeah. So we're not leaving people, places, and things being like, please.
Right. And again, is it desire? Is it intuition? So sometimes when you're feeling that strong pull, that's time to quiet yourself.
Yes.
And is that strong pull something that feels familiar, your shadow self, or is it your light, your intuition that, no, this is my path, this is my destiny, this is going to take me to the next level and become more of who I'm meant to be?
Yeah. Well, how do we tap in? What do we need to do? How do we find this intuition?
Okay. And
I know it's not in my joyful place.
No, we know.
I know where mine's at.
Take it as you will. Okay. So if you're driving, then just hold off on doing this until you get home. Okay. Palms facing up, because when your palms are facing up, you're in a receiving mode.
Love it.
Eyes open, you're closed. I'm going to keep mine open right now just for purposes.
I will close over here.
And see where your breath goes in your body. Is it going in your belly? You don't want your breath to be laying around in your chest because that's shallow breathing. So once you feel your breath deep down in your belly, I want you to feel your belly getting filled with light. And now, I want you to see your intuition. Is it colorful? Maybe it doesn't have a color. Maybe it has a shape. What does it look like, and where does it live within the body? And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes, kind of shake out your hands, and just make note of that. And sometimes when you have hard decisions to make or things you're very torn, just quiet yourself like we just did, a little longer than we did, but for purposes of the podcast, I did a real short one, but that is the exercise to really tap in. Everybody's intuition looks different, lives in different spaces. You might see over time it changes. So just continue to tap in and really listen, hone in.
Yeah, I think that was good. So tap in, listen. This is weird, but listen to the feeling.
Yes.
That you are getting.
Because that's what it is. You said it best. It's the feeling. It's not thoughts. Yeah. Your intuition is not going to be thoughts. It's going to be a feeling. Then a thought may follow, but you're gonna feel it. You're not gonna think it. Thinking is more the fear-based or the desire. A lot of times.
Yeah. Trust in yourself.
Yes.
That no matter what even if you get it wrong, it's going to be okay. It's going, but try it. Try for once listening to that and making a decision, even if it goes against what you want to do. If your intuition is telling you to do the opposite, just trust in it. If you're wrong, it's going to come back around.
Absolutely.
So
I agree. And I think journaling, writing, if you enjoy writing, I feel like writing also helps you tap into your intuition, because sometimes if you're having a rough day and you're very stressed and it's hard to quiet, your mind and tapping into your body, writing could help you get it out. Especially if before you write, you say, I'm going to write without judgment and I'm going to write from my heart. I feel like you'll tap into your heart and you'll get a lot of the answers that you may be seeking. It's wild. Like sometimes I'll be writing and some of the things that I swear to God I write down on paper, and then they come out. It's weird. And sometimes
Right?
I'm not kidding. I'll think to myself, what? Like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
And I'll be like, I knew it.
That.
Yeah.
See, there was something. Oh, what movie is it? So it's a movie. It's a faith-based movie. And he would he would write things. And there was a saying, but it was also a saying that his grandmother used to say, but it was something that kept coming up. What is the one? I Can Only Imagine. So I can remember the song
I love that
so
song.
if you have
and
not,
that was a great movie.
Yes.
A great movie.
So do you remember that it kept, I don't know if it was his grandmother or somebody used to say it to him a lot, but then he had wrote it.
Yes.
And
it's been a long time since I watched the movie,
yes,
but I do
so
remember he was a
wrote
writer,
this.
right?
Yes. So it kept coming up in things that he was writing. And lo and behold, it is the song and the lyrics that made them who they are today.
Found his faith. Like he became really strong in his faith.
Yes.
And he had a hard life.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. If you haven't watched it, watch it.
It's
but
a great movie.
that was an example of writing something and seeing something, and then for years before it actually came into fruition. But it's a good example. Another thing we always put out too is this book I was given by my friend Jackie Williams. She'll be a guest on this show. She got me this book. So it's called Trust. I do not know how to say her name, but oh no, Jenny.
Avanya, is it?
Janla Vonzent. But it's called Trust.
I'll have to read that.
Yes.
I've never read that.
It's trust in self, trust in God, trust in others, trust in life, mastering the 4 essential trusts.
And you read that, right?
Yeah, this is a great book, and it came at a great time. So if you are having trouble with trust in yourself and in your intuition, this is a good book to buy and read.
I'll have to read that.
Yeah, Anla Vonzant.
Meditation, prayer, because I know Ashley prays a lot. I pray a lot. Prayer is asking for things. You also want to make sure that you have gratitude every day. I think when we're grateful, that also helps us create more miracles in our life. But what I was going to say is prayer is asking and talking to God, where meditation, I feel like, is really listening to God, your higher power, whatever it is that you believe in. So I think it's so important to have some kind of meditation practice.
I agree.
And even a shallow meditation. People tell me all the time, well, I can't meditate because I can't quiet my thoughts. Nobody can quiet their thoughts all the time. Thoughts are always going to come up. So starting a practice and just trying to quiet your thoughts as much as you can to listen. It goes back to even that little exercise we just did to quiet the noise outside of you.
I agree.
That's what's going to really help you move forward in your life and make better choices. And don't beat yourself up.
Yeah. We're going to make mistakes.
Everybody
human.
does. And
We're
again,
flawed.
so it brings you to who you are today.
Right. So, I mean,
we wouldn't be sitting here today if we
hadn't made some mistakes.
have all the wisdom and the insight, if we didn't make the mistakes that we have made. I mean, truly.
Well, that's how
personal experience is what really helps you grow.
Right.
Really teaches
and
you.
making the same mistakes and not learning and then making them again and the different types of adversity and things that we go through. I mean, you can read all the books and you can have some educational knowledge behind it. But at the end of the day, in order to be able to resonate with somebody or be able to tell them how to, or suggest to them or advise them on how to do something, you have to have experience in that.
Yes.
So
I agree.
Your happy place where your intuition lies. Trust in that.
Absolutely. And I love the quote, be still. And no, I think you need stillness to really grow yourself.
Love it. All right.
Till next time.
If you have a story you'd like to share, or if there's a specific topic you'd like us to cover on the podcast, we'd love to hear your ideas.
Get in touch with us through email or our social media pages. Links below.